All right, I've got a freshman draft review. I'm going to give it a grade right after the stinger. It's Felix Sharpe at Sharpe Review on Twitter for Campus2Canton.com. I hope you like what we're doing. We're trying to push this Campus2Canton fantasy format that incorporates both college and NFL players. It's a whole lot of fun. If you want some more information about how you can get started, I'll drop a link in the description box. I am reviewing a freshman draft submitted by one of our subscribers today and one of our contributors, PJ. We're going to go over his freshman draft, picking from the 8th spot in his most recent freshman draft. If you are interested, if you want to get your freshman draft or your startup draft reviewed and for us to put a video out, go ahead and you can hit me up at Sharpe Review on Twitter or Campus2Canton at gmail.com if you're not already on Twitter or something, something weird. And of course, if you're already in the Campus2Canton Discord, just shoot me a DM and I will review your freshman draft. All right. This submission comes from PJ. He's picking out of the 8th spot. Password is Taco is the name. At the 108, he goes with Miami wide receiver Josiah Trader. And at the 208 with Bryant Wesco, the wide receiver there at Clemson. Two things I noticed off the bat. JoJo Trader, you look at our ADP at Campus2Canton.com, TJ Moore is going ahead of him. I'm a big fan of TJ Moore personally. I would have taken TJ Moore in that spot. TJ Moore looks like he slipped to the 110. Now, I don't know when this draft was taken, but I like to think if you had this draft today, TJ Moore might even go ahead of the 108 spot, but his ADP right now in freshman drafts, according to our website, is at the 108. Josiah Trader is at the 109. So, if Josiah Trader at Miami is your guy, fine. I would knock that just a little bit because I like the big, sticky hand wide receiver TJ Moore going to Clemson. You take Brian Wesco at the 208. You know what? I'll give you that one too. Okay, you're gonna get TJ Moore's teammate there at Clemson. I worry, and I've talked about this on the wide receiver summit. Bryant Wesco, a slot wide receiver or flanker, not really an X. He's going to be behind He's going to be behind Tyler Brown. He's probably going to be behind Antonio Williams. Not a lot of volume in that Clemson offense. So, we want our top couple of picks in freshman and supplemental drafts to be Devy selections. Bryant Wesco, and trust me, I know what the reports have been coming out of camp. They've been great, but we've seen this with guys like, Ajay Hall in years prior, goes off in the spring game, hasn't had a great career since then. So you took Bryant Wesco at the 208. I would have taken Nate Frazier, the scat back running back out of Georgia. I would have taken Walker White, the big quarterback down there at Auburn. A little bit of Will Levis can run a little bit. I probably would have taken one of those guys. So I'm going to knock you a little bit for your first two picks. But then you really hit your stride. Getting some CFF, some college fantasy producers, maybe even some guys who could have NFL potential with the running back Abu Sama out of Iowa State, Kyron Drones, the quarterback out of Virginia Tech, out of Virginia Tech. Mario Anderson, the transfer from South Carolina to Memphis. Malachi Fields, the big possession wide receiver at Virginia. And then Josh Hoover and Jacob Zeno. Let's break these picks down because, PJ, I see exactly what you're doing here. You're going for the CFF production. Abu Sama could be, potentially an RB2 if he replicates that game against Kansas State last year where he goes for 273 yards. And then Kyron Drones is a top 5 quarterback in college fantasy this year. I think that there's a chance that Kyron Drones is actually an NFL player. 6'2", 215, thick boy, can run. We need to get his completion percentage up. We need to get the complexity of what he's being asked to do. We need to get that. We need to get some progression there. But Kyron Drones has every single physical tool, so I love that pick. Mario Anderson, Malachi Fields. Those are CFF picks. Love those. Mario Anderson, we know the the success that Memphis has had at the running back position, specifically when Mike Norvell was there, but they can carry that on there with Mario Anderson. And we like, Seth Hedigan, a veteran there. That offense should be pretty decent there, so I like that pick. And then Matt Waldman. Matt Waldman was a fan of Mario Anderson, scouting Marshawn Lloyd at South Carolina. He said that Mario Anderson stood out to him. Josh Hoover and Jacob Zeno. This seems like a straight-up volume play. Josh Hoover had 300 pass attempts in 8 games last year, a couple of 400-yard passing games. I love that pick from a CFF perspective because you can start Josh Hoover if he can get it going again. Same with Jacob Zeno, a guy who's going to get a lot of volume. Is it Trent Dilfer? Trent Dilfer there, the head coach for the UAB Blazers, throwing to your boy Amari Thomas. So I love this streak right here of CFF production from Abu Sama at the 308 to Jacob Zeno at the 808. Now PJ is smart. Look at his 908. His 908 pick, Jason Patterson, the running back from Florida, goes to Kentucky, 5'11", 203. Great size to start off. Jason Patterson, much like Cam Robinson at Florida State, a quarterback transitioning to running back in college. But what PJ is doing here is he knows that Stoops there at Kentucky, at UK, always has a primary running back, and Trip Trainium has what? 1 year left, and so he's looking 1 year into the future. Go ahead and getting Jason Patterson. That's the type of pick where 3 or 4 weeks into the season, somebody's going to say, "Oh, I'm going to go pick up Jason Patterson," and here it is. PJ already has him stashed. I think that's really smart. Of course, you go get Ja'Cory Brown, the transfer from Miami to UCF. We know what Gus Malzahn does with dual threat quarterbacks. You got KJ Jefferson there now. Ja'Cory Brown could take it over next season. So you're looking into the future. I love that. Mazeo Bennett. I don't think a lot of people know this. Mazeo Bennett, high school teammates with Tyler Brown, outproduced Tyler Brown, Clemson wide receiver Tyler Brown, in their joint season in 2022. He is in our tier 3, very high tier 3 in our freshman guide, wide receiver 14 overall, known as a hard worker, known as somebody who's going to block, known as somebody who's going to run after the catch. So you're getting some intangibles there, taking a dart throw with Mazeo Bennett. Chris Bell at the 1208. He's been a guy that we've liked around here a long time, since his high school days, when he was Alec Ayamayor before Alec Ayamayor took Travis Hunter to the woodshed. There was a game between Travis Hunter and Chris Bell in high school where I think it was like 150 yards, a couple of touchdowns for Chris Bell, a big wide receiver that we're kind of waiting to break out there for U of L, for Coach Brom. And then Brennan Sorsby, I've talked about the Indiana transfer to Cincinnati. He has a lot of tools. I mean, NFL size, a good enough arm, but he's a taller player with mobility. I love that. I can't wait to see him as a starter there for Cincinnati. And then you close it out with Bert Emanuel and the tight end Roush at Stanford. I actually don't know a whole lot about Roush, but Bert Emanuel, another CFF play who's going to run a whole bunch there for the Chippewas, a guy that you can get some spot start duty in your Campus to Canton leagues. So overall, I would say my favorite picks here is that Abu Sama to Jacob Zeno, especially Hoover and Zeno there. I love those picks. I love Kyron Drones. I think Kyron Drones might be an NFL player, especially if he has 2 or even 3 more years to develop, and I think that he actually does. So overall, I'm going to give this one a C+, because I don't like the top 2 picks. Josiah Trader, Bryant Wesco, not some of my favorites personally. I think you could have gone a different direction there, especially with Wesco. You could have gone Nate Frazier. You could have gone Walker White. I would have liked those picks a little bit more. Walker White and Nate Frazier actually went in the 3rd round into this draft. So I'm giving you a C+. You guys can let me know what you think in the comments. What grade would you give PJ for his freshman draft? Again, that's JoJo Trader, Bryant Wesco, Abu Sama, Kyron Drones, Mario Anderson, Malachi Fields, Josh Hoover, Jacob Zeno, Jason Patterson, Ja'Cory Brown, Mazio Bennett, Chris Bell, Brennan Sorsby, Burt Emanuel, and Roush, the tight end from Stanford. I'm going to have to go look up Roush, PJ. You got me with that one. If you'd like your draft reviewed, go ahead and shoot me a DM on Twitter or get at me in the Campus 2 Canton Discord. All right, peace.